My name's Eve. I'm an autistic artist from Yorkshire and have been advised by my tutor to start making some documentation of my practice. My artistic practice is focused around the domestic and female identity. When discussing womanhood and girlhood, I personally drive all the information and research from my lived experience. The main body that kick-started this particular project was Carl Jung's idea of the woman within the house. Carl Jung speaks of women as if they look after household furniture the same as they do their children. They are there to protect and contain. The way in which Carl Jung explains the mother archetype and the child archetype was really prevalent to me, and it's something I really wanted to discuss and research further. I wanted to implement these topics into my work, and through that, I believe I've created a creative body of work which represents myself and my identity. The concept for my final piece is surrounded by a chair. As described within Jungian theory, women protect their household furniture. I believe this imagery to be really important and sufficient within my work. I wanted to look at how women protect the household furniture as if they are a reflection of themselves. This may seem a little bit confusing, so a way to describe it is think of a chair and personify it. Make it into a woman that you know. Through this, I looked at how I could deconstruct the chair. I decided to take the seat off the chair, because here's a chair, but you can't sit on it. This is what it often feels like to be a woman. You're stripped of what you know, what you are, and who you want to be. This kind of imagery was really important for me to execute correctly. This is why I wanted to make sure the chair was so important within my work. I often feel that I don't fit in with societal roles of being a woman. With being autistic, I feel I struggle with being a woman, and I feel like I struggle with the side of femininity that some women revel in. I wanted to display this in a way that the chair felt deconstructed, both in its nature and its morality. By containing a mobile around the chair, I believe this had a reflection of girlhood. The mobile represents a whirlwind, something that's constantly turning that we can't chase. The progression from girlhood to womanhood is an identifiable crisis for most women. The transition between girlhood and womanhood was difficult for me. I found that my identity was very misconstructed and all over the place. I may be struggling to describe the imagery behind the chair and the wood and the mobile, but in my head it makes perfect sense, as I believe it's a true representation of myself, and that's the most important part of my work. I wanted to also display my work in a ceramic form. Within the body of my work, I've looked at steel, wood, and clay. To represent womanhood, I wanted to look at the steel and the wood. Although they can be broken, they're much more malleable and they are resistant. However, the clay feels breakable, it's fragile, and almost very empty in a respect. When hand building within ceramics, the clay has to be hollow. This is so it doesn't blow up in the kiln. But I loved this representation of feeling hollow, which I did often when I was a child. It now makes sense to me why I felt this way. I didn't have a diagnosis at this point, so I did feel very empty, and I definitely felt different. And I felt different in so many respects. This is why the chair that I've made in clay form is much smaller, a little bit ugly, and almost looks like it's been dug up. I wanted the clay to feel vulnerable, and I wanted the clay to feel organic and raw, reflecting on this idea of self. I wanted the clay to feel really different to the chair with the steel and the wood, the main body, the vessel. To me, the ceramic chair feels so much more vulnerable and almost weird in how it looks, and I like the play between the two. I'm also trying to reflect imagery around lost purpose objects. By doing this, I have obviously created the chair without a seat, but also I have created ceramic bowls with no bottoms, hence, they are absolutely useless. This is a constant feeling for women. I enjoy playing around with lost purpose objects. For me, this creates a narrative of how women often fall within society. For example, you can be a CEO, but you can't be a mother at the same time. This really basic analogy just shows how women are directed to be one thing at once. They can't be various. If they are an owner of a business, they won't be a good mum. This misconstrued, outdated ideology is something I wanted to portray into my work and make my work feel fluent within this language of female empowerment. And for the most of my artistic career so far, I have painted and I've been very vibrant and loud within the colours I've used. But this year I really wanted to strip back the colours I used. The palette became much more dull and I enjoyed this process. I'm not sure if there's much more I can say on the process behind my work. I believe that it's an individual opinion and how people perceive it is completely up to them. This is my honest story and reflection of my lived experiences. It doesn't mean everybody is going to understand it the way I do, and that's totally fine. On this channel, I hope to create some more videos. I want to talk a little bit more about my practice, the theory behind my work, and the research. I'm also interested in creating videos on how to detect, depict, and understand art, and within this, talk about artistic research and understanding.